They fired me in front of everyone. No meeting room, no HR buffer, no dignity. Just the COO barking across the open floor like I was a stray dog. 14 years of building their backbone systems, erased with one word: terminated. My coworkers froze. Some smirked. My hands didn't shake, but the whole office did. Her name was Dana Keene. 14 years in the same company, Vana Logistics, and not a single screw-up on record. She had built their fulfillment brain from scratch, the invisible skeleton holding every warehouse, shipment, and order confirmation together. If it moved, she coded it. If it synced, she patched it. And then there was Grant, the new COO with the haircut of a motivational speaker and the patience of a toddler. 3 weeks in, he'd already merged 2 departments, outsourced payroll to a chatbot that confused sick leave with spam, and fired 2 senior managers before lunch. He liked making noise. He didn't like details. Friday evening, 5:46 p.m. The office was thinning out. Dana sat at her desk, annotating her last update in the system log. Calm, methodical. Her code hummed like a steady heartbeat. And then Grant stormed in with a fistful of printed error logs, slamming them onto her keyboard like a judge delivering a sentence. Explain this mess, he barked. The logs were from yesterday. A 12-minute sync hiccup she'd already fixed, logged, and reported twice. Nothing broken. Nothing lingering. Documented. Resolved. Dana didn't even look up. Already handled. Issue 98,421. Annotated this morning. Grant's voice rose, cracking through the room. I don't care about your process. The board wants to know why confirmations look like a toddler's crayon drawing. You've had 14 years to build this rat's nest. Now I'm cleaning it up. Pack your desk. You're done. A silence spread. The kind of silence that feels like a funeral. Someone coughed. Someone minimized slack. Dana blinked once. She saw a kid with a fork aimed at an outlet. She thought, do I stop him, or do I let him fry? She whispered one word. Okay. No begging. No defense. Just okay. Then she turned to her monitor, clicked out of the client dashboard, and opened an old, hidden terminal window she'd buried years ago. An icon blinked. Maintenance. BAT. Her finger hovered for half a second. Then she double-clicked. A tiny cursor danced. Then stillness. No explosions. No alarms. Just silence. A tomb sealed shut. Grant didn't notice. HR appeared at his shoulder like a bureaucratic shadow with a clipboard. Dana unplugged her keyboard, slid her leather-bound notebooks, 15 years of diagrams and dependencies, into her bag, and handed over her badge. The system behind her purred. Stable. Locked. Waiting. On the internal dashboard, one quiet line appeared in gray text. System check completed. Handshake, key required. No one in that building knew what it meant. No one but Dana. She walked out past frozen coworkers. No one stopped her. Not shame. Not solidarity. Just fear. Out in the parking lot, rain started to fall. She pulled her hood up, calm as a monk. Her hands trembled, not with fear, but restraint. She wanted to turn back and say, good luck running it without me. But she didn't need to. The script would speak for her. At 7:42 a.m. Monday morning, the cracks began. Phoenix warehouse couldn't update inventory. Cincinnati flagged missing shipments. Dallas froze mid-sync. Orders queued with no errors, no alerts, just silence. Like a perfect heart with no blood flow. Inside the glass war room, Grant slammed the table. Fix it. I don't care how. Just fix it. The junior dev stared at him, pale. What exactly do we fix, sir? There are no errors. Reboot everything, he barked. They did. It got worse. Orders scrambled. Labels printed with placeholder codes. A warehouse accidentally triggered returns for 1,200 units of camping gear. The chatbot defaulted to canned responses Dana had once written as a joke. We're experiencing unexpected awesomeness. Please hold. By noon, priority clients were already threatening breach of contract lawsuits. Meanwhile, Dana was sitting in her kitchen in pajama pants, sipping coffee and flipping through an old photo album. Her phone buzzed. She didn't check it. Not yet. She smiled faintly. Because she knew exactly what was happening. She'd left the system alive. But it wouldn't listen to anyone else. By Tuesday morning, Vana Logistics was hemorrhaging money. Shipping queues were stuck in limbo. Refunds piled up. Finance flagged an $800,000 discrepancy in reconciliations. Customers were threatening lawsuits. A Fortune 100 client canceled pickups outright, citing data anomalies. The war room stank of sweat and burnt coffee. Grant paced, red-faced, shouting the same line over and over. We're close. It's just a sync loop. Someone fix it. But no one could. The dashboards showed green. The system was healthy, yet nothing moved. At 9:17 a.m., A board member dialed in, voice icy. What's your estimated revenue loss per hour? The CFO stammered, $500,000. Projected brand damage, catastrophic. A silence followed. The kind of silence that sticks to your throat. Who built this architecture? Someone finally asked. Nobody spoke. Then a junior dev whispered, Dana Keene. Grant's jaw tightened. She's gone. We're not crawling back. Meanwhile, Dana was stretched out in her backyard hammock, sun on her face, phone on Do Not Disturb. She was flipping through a mystery novel, sipping orange juice like it was champagne. Her phone buzzed. A voicemail from an unknown number. She ignored it. Another buzz. This time a text. Did you do something? Kyle. Kyle. The nervous junior she once trained. His hands used to shake when he ran queries. Sweet kid. She almost answered. Almost. Instead, she chuckled, typed one emoji, a winking face, and put the phone down. Somewhere in the war room, Kyle read her reply and went pale. By noon, panic hit a fever pitch. Priority clients were screaming. Legal was drafting letters with words like gross negligence. The chatbot was now spewing nonsense responses, recycling Dana's old test scripts. Our llamas are on strike. Please hold. Grant slammed his palms on the table. Hire outside help. Now. Enter Ezra Holloway. A consultant flown in from New York, shoes without socks, laptop sleeker than the company's budget. He plugged in, cracked his knuckles, and got to work while the executive team held their breath. 30 minutes passed. Ezra frowned. 45 minutes. He finally spoke. Not broken, he said flatly. Excuse me, the CFO asked. It's not broken. It's waiting. Whoever built this knew exactly what they were doing. It's airtight, elegant, secure in a way I rarely see outside government systems. You don't have a system problem. You have a Dana problem. The room went dead quiet. Grant's face flushed purple. She sabotaged us. Ezra shook his head. No, she protected you from yourselves. And you fired her. Dana, still in her hammock, finally listened to the voicemail. A shaky HR rep stammered through a rehearsed line. We'd love to explore a consulting arrangement. Competitive pay. Flexible timing. Dana snorted. Not a single word of apology. Just corporate perfume over desperation. She forwarded it to her lawyer with one note. Triple my old salary. Paid up front. No grant. No NDA. She closed her phone, leaned back, and whispered to herself. Let them sweat. At 3 p.m. The board convened. One director asked, why aren't we calling her? Grant snapped, because we don't beg. But his voice cracked. And then, the twist. Someone had already reached out to Dana. Not HR. Not the board. Kyle. At 4:17 p.m. Dana's phone buzzed again. A private email. Subject line, emergency sync recovery. It was a screenshot. A fragment of the training document she had once left on the shared drive. 10 pages of encrypted gibberish, with one section circled in red. Her own handwriting. Her own backdoor failsafe. The words, handshake key required. Dana froze. How did Kyle even know this existed? She had buried it years ago. Suddenly, this wasn't just her silent revenge anymore. Someone else was digging. Someone else was dangerously close to a part of the system even she had forgotten about. She set her book down. For the first time in days, Dana felt her pulse quicken. The company was collapsing. Grant was unraveling. But now there was a new, unpredictable player. And Dana wasn't sure if he was her ally or her enemy. By Wednesday morning, Vena Logistics was bleeding $17 million. Shipping was at 11% efficiency. Refunds doubled overnight. Clients were demanding penalties in the millions. And Grant, he was a red-faced wreck, pacing the war room like a caged animal, mumbling the same line over and over. We're close, it's just a loop, it's just a loop. But it wasn't a loop. It was a dead end. That's when Kyle snapped. He couldn't take it anymore. The shouting, the chaos, the execs who didn't know and SQL query from a sandwich menu. So he did the unthinkable. He dug into Dana's old training doc. Emergency sync recovery. The one she had left as a joke, full of diagrams only she could understand. Kyle thought he found the solution. He didn't. At 10:12 a.m., he tried to force a handshake key. Not the real one. Of course, he didn't have it. But he improvised, typing fragments of old passwords Dana once used in test environments. Enter. The system paused. For one terrifying second, it looked like it worked. Dashboards flickered. Orders updated. People in the room actually cheered. Grant pounded the table. Yes. Finally. Then silence. And the system went berserk. Orders duplicated across regions. Warehouses in Nevada suddenly thought they owed 4,000 treadmills to Phoenix. Spokane printed 600 fake return labels for items that never existed. Dallas shipped 120 pallets of patio furniture, to itself. The chatbot? It began emailing priority clients automatically. Subject line, your order is awesome. Body, we regret nothing. Expect the unexpected. By 11 a.m. 3 major retailers had suspended contracts. One Fortune 100 client leaked screenshots to the press. Twitter exploded. Hashtag Venafail trended nationwide. Grant's face drained of blood. Who touched the system? All eyes turned to Kyle. He stammered. I was just trying to help. Grant lost it. You idiot. You just tanked $40 million in contracts. The board was furious. Lawsuits loomed. And Dana? Dana was in her kitchen, flipping pancakes. Her phone buzzed with 20 new emails. Screenshots. Headlines. Angry client letters. She scrolled, sipping coffee, half amused, half horrified. Unexpected awesomeness, she muttered. She actually laughed. A bitter, sarcastic laugh. That little joke script she'd written 2 years ago was now viral content. Then she froze. A screenshot of Kyle's failed handshake attempt. The code looked wrong, dangerously wrong. She leaned forward. Oh no, he hadn't just scrambled orders. He'd triggered a buried test mode she'd coded years ago and forgotten. A sandbox that wasn't supposed to touch real inventory. But thanks to Kyle's improvisation, it was live. And now the system thought the entire company was a testing environment. By noon, disaster went global. International shipments duplicated SKUs. Customs flagged mislabeled containers. A retail chain in Germany accused Vena of fraud. The EU threatened sanctions. The war room descended into pure chaos. Phones rang nonstop. Clients screamed. The CFO wept openly. Grant roared over the noise. Shut it all down. Full reboot. But that only made it worse. The reboot wiped partial orders, froze dashboards, and locked out every regional manager. Ezra, the consultant, stood in the corner shaking his head. This isn't sabotage, he said softly. This is ignorance weaponized. Dana sat on her porch, phone in hand. Emails, calls, texts, voicemails, all begging for help. Even HR. Even the board. She didn't answer. Not yet. She whispered into the wind, almost sarcastic. You wanted me gone? Congratulations. You got it. And then her phone buzzed again. Not an email. Not HR. Not the board. It was Kyle. A single desperate text. Dana, please. I messed up. They're blaming you. Help me before they ruin you too. Her jaw tightened. Blame her? After everything? After the public firing, the humiliation, the silence? Her anger burned hot, but under it was something else. Dread. Because if Kyle's hack kept running, the system wouldn't just collapse the company. It could drag her name into the fire. And Dana wasn't going to let anyone write her ending. By Thursday morning, Vena Logistics was on life support. Orders were vanishing into black holes. Refunds tripled overnight. Finance updated the projected loss, $42 million, and climbing. The board was in full meltdown. We're hemorrhaging clients, one director screamed. Our stock is tanking, another added. Who the hell is running this circus? And then, the cherry on top, a federal compliance officer emailed demanding an explanation for 2,300 fandom export labels flagged at customs. The phrase federal inquiry hung in the air like a guillotine. Grant. He looked like a ghost, sweat staining his shirt, eyes bloodshot, muttering nonsense about just a hiccup. That's when Dana finally moved. At 9:03 a.m., her lawyer, Diane Burnside, sent a blistering email to the board. Subject line, consulting proposal, immediate action required. The terms were brutal. Triple Dana's old salary. Paid up front. Full remote access, no office visits. Absolute control over all system decisions. No contact with Grant. Ever. A written public statement restoring her reputation. Deadline noon. And then Dana added a stunt, one no one saw coming. She flipped the kill switch on Vena's public-facing dashboard. Clients logging in didn't see metrics, or errors, or even chaos. They saw one single line across the screen, bold gray text. System integrity compromised. Architect required. The company's dirty laundry was now broadcast to every major partner in real time. Phones exploded. Clients panicked. The board nearly fainted. Grant went ballistic. She's blackmailing us, he screamed, slamming his fist against the glass wall. This is extortion. Ezra, the consultant, chuckled. No, this is leverage. Learn the difference. Meanwhile, Dana was sitting cross-legged on her porch, laptop balanced on her knees, sipping iced tea. Calm. Focused. Her phone buzzed. First HR. Then the CFO. Then a director. All begging. All desperate. Dana ignored them all until exactly 11:59 a.m. Then she opened Zoom. The board was waiting. Faces pale. Eyes hollow. Grant barged in, shouting, "We don't negotiate with terrorists." Dana raised an eyebrow, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "Terrorists? I built your company. I kept it alive for 14 years while you clowns played dress-up with buzzwords. You fired me in public, and now you're drowning in your own stupidity. Don't you dare call me a terrorist." The silence was deafening. Finally, the chairwoman of the board cleared her throat. "What do you want, Dana?" Dana leaned forward. Her voice was calm, precise, lethal. "I already told you. Triple pay. Upfront. Written apology. No grant. Or." She tapped a key. Every warehouse dashboard glitched in unison. Shipment maps flickered, routes scrambled, labels reset. Grant nearly fell out of his chair. "Stop. You'll kill us." Dana smirked. "Correction. You already did. I'm just showing you the funeral program." By 12:15 p.m., the board caved. They wired her $90,000 up front, signed a contract, drafted the apology, but Dana wasn't finished. At 1:02 p.m., she performed her insane stunt. Not sabotage, not destruction, a spectacle. She rerouted the internal system logs and projected them onto the company's own massive lobby screens, visible to every employee, client, and visitor. Line after line of code scrolled across in real time, ending with her signature failsafe message. System restored by Dana Keene. Integrity guaranteed. The building erupted. Employees gasped. Some cheered. Others filmed it on their phones, posting clips online. By evening, #architect returned was trending on Twitter. Dana didn't gloat. She didn't even smile. She just leaned back in her chair at home, sipping her tea. She had just pulled off the corporate equivalent of skywriting across the entire skyline. "You can't erase me. I am the system." Inside the war room, chaos turned to stunned silence. The dashboards blinked from red to yellow to solid green. Shipments synced. Orders flowed. Refunds stopped piling. Ezra muttered under his breath, "Elegant. Obscure. Genius." Grant, trembling, tried one last desperate swing. "She's manipulating you. We can't give her this power." Dana cut him off cold. "Oh, Grant, you never had power. You had volume. And volume doesn't keep planes in the air or warehouses alive. I did." The board didn't argue. They didn't even look at him. Grant slumped into his chair, broken, irrelevant. By 3 p.m., Dana was back in control, not as an employee, not as a scapegoat, but as the architect with her own rules. The company had bent. The system had obeyed. The entire corporate world had just witnessed her insane stunt. And Dana? She wasn't done. Not yet. By Friday morning, the company was breathing again. Shipments flowed. Dashboards glowed green. Refund queues thinned. To the outside world, Vena Logistics looked stabilized. Clients were reassured, investors calmed, lawsuits paused. But inside, the atmosphere was eerie. No one spoke Dana's name out loud, yet her presence was everywhere. Every employee saw it in the scrolling log she'd left on the lobby screens. System restored by Dana Keene. She wasn't just a contractor. She was a legend. The board tried to downplay it. A memo circulated. "We are grateful for our dedicated teams during this transition." No mention of Dana. No mention of Grant. Just sterile corporate air freshener words. Dana read it and laughed. "Grateful for your teams? Which ones? The ones who crashed the system? Or the ones who tried to fake a handshake key and almost got you indicted?" She didn't care. She had something better. A secret. Years ago, during one of her endless nights patching spaghetti code, Dana had built more than just fail-safes. She had built an observer. A hidden subroutine buried 3 layers deep, invisible to anyone without her keys. It didn't alter data. It didn't touch orders. It simply watched. Every change, every override, every command by executives, logged. Silently. Permanently. And Dana still had access. At 10:47 a.m., she sat at her kitchen table, laptop open, sipping black coffee, scrolling through the observer logs. Her lips curled in a cold smile. Because there it was, evidence of the board's cover-ups. Grant authorizing illegal order reroutes to inflate quarterly numbers. A director overriding compliance scripts to fudge environmental audits. HR deleting harassment complaints against senior managers. All of it. Timestamped. Indisputable. Dana whispered to herself, "Oh, you're going to pay me a lot more than triple." She didn't rush. She let the system hum for 2 more days, building false confidence. Clients sent thank you notes. The stock began to climb again. Then, on Monday morning, she dropped her second bomb. Every board member received an anonymous email with one screenshot. Just one. Grant's signature authorizing a fake shipment worth $3. $2 million. The subject line? From the architect. The board panicked. Grant panicked harder. "We need to spin this," he shouted, slamming papers on the table. "Spin what?" the CFO snapped. "That we committed fraud while firing the one person who could save us." Ezra, leaning casually against the wall, smirked. "She's not spinning. She's reminding you she knows everything." Meanwhile, Dana was on her porch, barefoot, sipping wine, watching storm clouds roll across the lake. Her phone buzzed. Another voicemail from HR, this one almost hysterical. "We need to renegotiate. Please, Dana, please, what do you want?" Dana deleted it without listening to the end. She already knew what she wanted. Not revenge. Not money. Something colder. Control. That afternoon, she sent her lawyer Diane a new draft. The terms made the last contract look generous. Annual retainer, not hourly. 7 figures. A permanent seat on the Systems Oversight Committee. Full indemnity for past, present, and future. And one final clause. If the board attempted to erase her contributions again, the observer logs would automatically release to regulators and the press. Diane whistled when she read it. "This isn't a contract, Dana. This is a loaded gun." Dana smirked. Exactly. At 6:12 p.m., the board caved again. They had no choice. They signed, wired the money, handed her permanent authority over the very system they once called a rat's nest. Grant sat in the corner, silent, defeated, a man who'd lost everything but still didn't realize it. But Dana wasn't done. She logged in one last time, pulling up the hidden observer. She toggled a setting she'd never touched before. Public mode, dormant. A kill switch for reputations. If the board ever turned on her again, the world would see everything. Fraud, lies, harassment. She closed the laptop with a soft click. Her system was untouchable, her power unquestioned, her secret weapon hidden in plain sight. And for the first time in 14 years, Dana laughed freely. Not bitter, not sarcastic, but triumphant. Because she hadn't just restored the system. She had become the system. The board thought they had silenced her. They thought wiring 7 figures and scribbling her name on a contract would contain the storm. But storms don't sign contracts. And Dana was the storm. On Wednesday morning, Grant tried one last desperate stunt. At 9:02 a.m., an anonymous article appeared online. It painted Dana as a vindictive ex-employee who sabotaged Vena's systems out of spite. The piece dripped with phrases like unstable, disgruntled, and vengeful architect. But the article had one fatal flaw. The screenshots Grant attached were from her observer logs. Dana's logs. Her trap. At 9:14 a.m., the observer activated. Every employee dashboard in Vena's network flickered. The lobby screens glitched. And then, like a courtroom projector, the evidence unrolled for all to see. Not Dana's sabotage. Not Dana's revenge. But Grant's crimes. Fraudulent reroutes. Deleted compliance warnings. Emails where he mocked clients and falsified reports. One by one, the logs scrolled publicly. A 14-year diary of executive corruption, time-stamped and undeniable. Employees gasped. Phones recorded. Within minutes, the footage hit Twitter. By lunchtime, it hit every news outlet in America. Hashtag Vena Exposed exploded online. The boardroom was chaos. Directors screaming. Phones buzzing. Lawyers pacing. And Grant. He cracked. He pounded the table, spit flying. She did this. She's destroying us. Ezra leaned back in his chair, calm as ice. No, Grant. You destroyed yourself. She just wrote it down. The chairwoman glared at him. You signed those orders, didn't you? Grant's face turned chalk white. I. Security walked in. 2 guards. Silent. Firm. They didn't wait for orders. They knew. Grant's voice broke as they pulled him out. You'll regret this, Dana. You'll all regret this. The doors slammed. The board didn't regret a thing. Meanwhile, Dana sat at home, glass of wine in hand, watching the live stream on her laptop. Her heart hammered, but her face was calm, almost serene. This wasn't revenge anymore. This was revelation. The company wasn't saved by the board. It wasn't saved by consultants. It wasn't even saved by her code. It was saved by her truth. By 3 p.m., the fallout was nuclear. Clients pulled contracts until an independent audit was guaranteed. Regulators launched investigations. Shareholders demanded resignations. And yet, in the middle of the wreckage, Dana's name wasn't dragged. It was exalted. The architect. The woman who built the backbone. The woman who walked away. The woman who couldn't be erased. Job offers flooded her inbox. CTO roles. 6-figure consultancies. Equity packages. She didn't answer a single one. At sunset, Dana drove out to the lake. Parked. Sat on the hood of her car, watching the sky bleed orange into black. Her phone buzzed again. A voicemail from Diane, her lawyer. They're folding, Dana. Grant's gone. 3 directors are resigning. You could own this company if you wanted. Dana smiled faintly. Why would I want to own a graveyard? She dropped the phone onto the seat. The lake was still, quiet, free. For the first time in 14 years, she belonged to herself. The final log entry blinked across her laptop screen. System status, stable. Architect disengaged. Dana closed it. For good. Because the truth was the ultimate weapon. And Dana had fired it at point-blank range. She didn't just burn the bridge. She made sure the world saw who lit the match. And then she walked away, leaving nothing but silence and her legend. That's the end of today's story. Did things turn out the way you thought, or were there some surprises along the way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't joined the community yet, now's the perfect time. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always the first to catch new stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.